Hey, Unstuckers! Welcome to Casual Friday, where we take a moment to have a mini mastermind, problem solve, set goals, and keep the ball rolling on our own businesses. This week on the podcast, we talked about something. I should have been prepared for this. Well, we talked about Instagram. That's what it was. This week on the podcast, we talked about Instagram with our episode titled Fuck Hashtags. So if you have yet to build an Instagram or are looking for more tips and tricks on how to build an Instagram, go back and listen to that episode with all of the knowledge Cel dropped on us about Instagram. This Friday, we are joined casually by Bryan S. Arnold. Welcome, Bryan, to our Casual Fridayness.
Hello, thank you for having me. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
And of course, I'm joined as every week by my co host, Cel. Say what's up, Cel.
What's up, guys? Hey.
Hey.
We were just on Bryan's podcast this week, last week. I forget. Time goes crazy in a pandemic. I don't know
Yeah,
what's going on.
yeah.
But
Last
it
week,
drops
last
today.
Friday.
But
Yeah.
it drops
Yes,
today.
But it
it
dropped in
drops
the
today.
podcast feed today, but we were
Yeah.
live on all the like streaming platforms on video last week. See,
Yes.
plus pandemic time, I'm just confused. I don't know what's going on. Bryan, tell our audience a little bit more about yourself, your podcast, your business, where you're coming from today.
Sure, that's great. So I am a father of three sons. Um, Two of them are twins. They're older.
Double
They're,
trouble.
they're, they're older because one of them now has a granddaughter and a grandson on the way.
Oh my gosh.
So I am now a grandfather now, amazingly enough. So
Nice.
that's wonderful news. And I have a beautiful wife. I live here in Boston, Massachusetts, Boston.
Bastin.
Bastin.
And I am the host of the Authority Project, which you guys were so amazing on last week. And I want everybody to go and check them out because they are awesome. And we talked about Casual Friday and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, and I'm also, with the title of that, I had this kind of branding thing of authority where I teach people how to build authority in their niche and help them to simplify the process in doing so. That's a
Awesome.
little bit. That's a little bit about me.
And it's a great podcast, guys. I went back and listened to episodes we weren't on. and,
That's how you know it's good.
and it's really good. He
Awesome.
really gets to the meat on some very practical advice with his guests. So go check it out if you haven't already. So, Bryan, here on Casual Fridays, it's less about informing our audience about your podcast, which we're doing obviously, but also talking about your business, your real life, day to day. What's going on right now? What's your projects? What are you struggling with? What are your recent success stories? What's it like in your world of your business and your podcast? We're both podcasters, obviously. Not everyone in our audience is going to have a podcast,
Right. Right.
um, but yeah, let's hear more about what's going on in your business right now.
Well, right now I am. I don't want to say this as a negative, but I'm still a solopreneur, which means that I'm still doing things by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the midst of trying to research and search for a VA finally because
Nice.
Ah,
things are getting a little challenging that way. Where it's just like, okay, I'm getting emails. I'm getting emails every day about getting first of all people getting on my show,
yeah.
wanting to be on my show, and that's a spin. It's you don't realize it at first, but then it's like my time is being consumed
Mm-hmm.
by returning this and researching these people and then setting up the show and doing all this thing what I love to do. I don't mind doing that, but you're like, oh wow, this is getting, I'm spending a lot of time doing this. So that's the one challenge of that. I love getting guests on my show, but it's just sometimes the behind the scenes does get a little, it weighs on you a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I am in the midst of doing because I've gotten a little bit of expertise of doing this now with building a podcast. I am building a product called Podcast Built, which I'm helping people how my little formula of how I started my podcast and got people not just me but other people, students that have come in and gotten great results where they're like pretty much like me now, like guests are coming all the time to try to be on their show. So I'm just like, well, maybe I have something here. So
Yeah.
I
Nice.
finished that beta group and now I'm in starting my first class. It's going to be called Podcast Built. So there's not. So this is another. So I'm going to give you something great than a challenge. So so I'm in the middle of trying to set up this sales page. I'm just like, this is not right. It's so funny because when you're an entrepreneur, everything sounds great until you get to the tech part. Like I know we had some issues before, even before this show. It's like, okay, this is great, wonderful. I'm coming on the show, but we can't get this sound right. So it's just like great intentions, but then like the technical part is always a challenge. So, anyways, anyways, I'm grateful for that. And I'm also teaching people what I call like workshop style coaching, which I think is the best way to do it. I mean, I'm starting to not negatively, but be not be so strong on group coaching anymore. I think the workshop style is the best type of style where you're actually over their shoulder, you're working with them while they're in the moment. I think that's the best coaching to ever get somebody, not somebody who's just like, I'm going to tell you a few things and go ahead and do it I'll see you next month. I've
Mm-hmm.
done that. I've been on the other side of that, and where sometimes the coach, forgot what we were doing last month, like for 2 months in a row, mind you. So,
You're like,
so I
why
was
am
just
I
like, this
paying
is
you?
right, exactly. So that wasn't working quite well. So I like that. I don't like I said, I don't discourage people doing group coaching. Um, I think you have to be very wide. I think if you're going to tell somebody like, my coaching is $5,000. I'd rather see you do that one on one with somebody where it's like over the shoulder, some kind of thing, instead of spending $5,000 for group coaching. It's
Mm-hmm.
just not. It's just never going to be the same.
Right.
Never going to be the same. So that's my thing. That's what I like to do with my students.
Yeah, I come from the world of theater, have previous life in theater, and
Yeah.
we used to call it side coaching. So, like, when you're in rehearsals for a show, you'd run through, and like a director would take notes, and they would give you notes at the end, which is like, you know, it's good, but it's totally different. We do what we call side coaching, where you'd run a scene, and the director would just stand on stage with you and just whisper in your ear the whole time, and
Wow.
the amount of growth and development and like finding like characters and storytelling and all that stuff that happens in that moment compared to just like, here's some notes for everybody at the end, I think
Yeah.
is like my previous life, the theater world's equivalent of what you were just saying.
Right.
And I think, yeah, no matter whether it's the theater world side coaching or what you're talking about and coaching for a business, like having someone in the moment look over your shoulder and be like, have you thought about this? What about that? Like
Right.
really
Right.
just like can accelerate you so much faster than just about anything else. So that's very cool,
Yeah.
very
Yeah. I
useful.
agree.
Um,
Especially like you said, because of the price point, like you'd want someone to remember you from month to month if you're dropping
Right.
right.
5 grand on a program,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
I
Right.
could see group coaching for maybe a lower price point, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you're maybe you get lost in the weeds there. But like if you're dropping, I mean, if you're dropping a significant amount of money, you should not necessarily be handheld, but they should remember you at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
so you have a podcasting course for people starting their own podcast, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's a hybrid. Well, now it's a hybrid kind of group coaching kind of um, thing where for 4 weeks, I be we're on a Zoom call, and I show you my exact steps of how I did it. So it's like it's like it's kind of weird because it's not like I'm seeing myself like some kind of guru. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying this is how this happened.
Yeah.
It's kind of my mistake. Like I did this thing. Had this little script that I just put together.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like something like I researched hours and hours about the script. No, I just had the script and it worked. Right.
Right.
And I did it one time, and now I'm booked out for like about 5 6 months in advance. I mean, I don't want to date the show, but it's say right now if it's looking, where it's November now, it's April. For my people are get
Yeah.
on that waiting to be on my show, and I got a bunch more that I can't even put in there now. So it's just like it's work, and it's work for other people who've done the same thing. So I'm excited to show more people how to do this, where it's like it's a well-oiled machine at the point, and then to a point where now at the point at the end of it all, you just promote,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome. I also have a podcast course that I've been talking a lot about, and we'll talk
awesome,
more about
awesome,
later. But I think
yeah,
it's cool that to me, like in this online coaching or course world, and we have different takes on what we're doing,
yeah,
but I think it's cool that like there's just so many people in the world, like and
yeah.
and like I just want to note, like I didn't like say like you can come on my podcast, but you can't talk about your course because you're my competition,
Right.
like, because I think like there's so many people in the world, and I
Yeah,
can't serve everybody, and not everybody wants me as their coach.
right,
They want
exactly.
different personalities. They want someone that they really jive with, and I don't
Yeah,
want to coach people who I don't jive with either. And so like I love that there are options out there, and I don't. It's like an abundance mindset thing, but I don't look at it like oh god, like competition, stay away. It's like it's pretty cool that like for today's casual Friday, our listeners are listening to like two people who have a different take on a similar idea and have different
yeah,
attitudes and different backgrounds and all this stuff. So um I think that's just awesome, from also just as a consumer of online courses like and coaching and stuff. Like I like um that you can find someone you jive with
yeah,
and really take it to the next level, because of that side coaching, and the personalities jiving and all that stuff. So last thing you mentioned was, or the first thing you mentioned, but the last thing we'll get to is your need for a virtual assistant. So where are you on that journey? Are you just starting to think about that? Have you done research? What's going on there?
I've gone to a couple of sites. Um, Fiverr is one. Um, there's some Filipino sites that I researched before in the past that I kind of re-upped now. And right before the show, there's some one of my coaches was trying to introduce something where he's going to send us maybe a pool of VAs that he draws from.
Cool.
So that's another thing. So just trying to get the right fit at the right price point,
Mm-hmm.
and hire well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hire well. And
Hire
it's,
slow, right?
yeah, it's a bigger, exactly. It's a bigger decision than I probably would have, because it's more than just outsourcing.
Yes.
Outsourcing is one thing, you got to get this person where they're in jive with what you do.
Right.
Can they mimic what you do? Because it's
Yeah.
very important that they don't mimic it. It's very important that they do mimic my who I am, and not that they don't have their own little style, but I don't want it to be the opposite of what I do,
They need to
or how
represent
I
you.
approach or how I communicate with people
Yeah.
that I serve.
2 weeks ago, I think on Casual Friday, Josh spoke about his experiences with his virtual assistant. So that might be helpful for you to go
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
and listen, like how
Yeah.
he
So
Okay.
trained her and how he communicates with her.
the
Yeah.
biggest things I've learned. So I'm on like 2 months into having a virtual assistant. I looked at a lot of the websites too. I found the price point to be, and the locking in of certain like packages of hours or something to be
Yeah.
a little outside of my comfort zone. So I actually went the route of looking around, especially in a pandemic, and coming from the world of theater. I know a lot of unemployed people who do really good work. And so I just kind of looked around at people I knew, um, because I wanted to kind of hire fairly quickly, you know, and the only reason I'm comfortable hiring a little more quickly is having some background knowledge of said person. So that helped. And then and Chell sent me some contacts that were also awesome. Like having someone vouch for somebody is also super great in hiring quickly. Um, but in the end, I went with somebody I knew because specifically she's in the film industry, and I do a lot of music for TV and film, and that's like a good like half of the things I need an assistant to help me with. And so I was like, you have the skill set I want as well. so so I will say like that was helpful to just think about it that way. And she runs her own company, so I'm actually not like an employee; she's a contractor, but which helps, in the grand scheme of paperwork and all that stuff to deal
Hell
with.
yeah.
And And the other thing I found is like I'm really good at delegating in general. Like I come from a background of tech theater management and stuff, always running crews and telling people what to do and delegating. So I'm comfortable with that. But in the moment, like where you are now and where I am now, is like getting so busy that you're thinking about I need an assistant. Then you have to spend some time training the assistant on top of still answering emails and making sure and all this stuff. And so it's like if the graph goes along, you're like, I'm getting busier and busier, and then you hire somebody and you get ridiculously busy because on top of everything else you're training. But now I'm like on the other end of that slope. I see her being able to just take care of things. She knows what she's doing. I'm slowly adding new tasks here and there and training still, but it's not like, let me train everything. It's just like, okay, you've got your base tasks on lock. Like you're doing them week in and week out. And that's super fantastic. And I'm only hiring, 10 hours a week right now, but that 10 hours is really helping my sanity a lot. So
Nice.
so I can't recommend it enough. We had another guest a few months ago who was in the process of hiring somebody. He told me, like, you're thinking about it, just do it. You're gonna be so grateful. And so I'll pass Greg's insight on to you. Just do it. You're gonna be so grateful.
Great. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So what looking forward, what would be your goals for the next like week? We're gonna have, by the way, dear audience, we're gonna
Oh,
have
cool.
our people check in with us. So next week we'll have Bryan send in a little audio file letting us know, because we know we keep asking our guests, what are you gonna do this week? And they never follow up with us because we don't ask them to. We're gonna start asking them to. Bryan's gonna be our first guinea pig on this. So
Lucky me.
yeah, Bryan. So you get to tell us what you're going to do,
I'm
and
so
we're going to keep
excited
you
about it.
accountable
Yeah.
next week. So there you go.
Yeah, this is great. I'm just so grateful for it. So I'm going to preface this by saying I have this new acronym I'm working on. It's called, now get this, TGEFN. So it's not a word, but
To Giffen.
TGEFN. So maybe it's not an acronym. Anyway, so that means that's good enough for now.
Ooh.
So
Yes. Heck
so every so often, I'll I'm always building, but and this is part of my thing where I say build it, share it, and they will come. So I'm always building, but every so often, I'll say I'm going to build this, and this is good enough for now. All right. But then like maybe like a month or maybe a month or two, I'm like, okay, I need to upgrade. So right now I'm in upgrade mode of all of my sites a little bit.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I'm changing my authorityletter.com site, which is just really like a opt-in page.
Mm-hmm.
I'm changing my authority letter for my podcast site. So I'm changing everything, changing on my, just to make it look a little better and more precise, I guess. So that's what I'm doing for the week. It seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot, but I'm once I'm in that mode, it's not as bad as it looks. So I'm doing that. I'm doing my sales page obviously for the podcast course. So I'm doing all those things kind of at once, which is kind of crazy, but I enjoy it if I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
Once I'm in there, once I'm in my chair, I got my two screens, everything's to go. Don't, leave me alone. Don't bother me.
Yeah, for me, it's hard to start those projects.
Okay.
Like I got to redo the website, but as soon as I sit down, I'm gone for hours, and then I'm done, and I feel great. But like that moment of starting, that's the hard part.
Right. The only caveat to that is like today, even before this show, I was like, this one thing that's just not working. You ever get that? It's like the technical piece is like, I'm integrating this thing to this. It should work now. It doesn't. So,
but the best part is it says thing. It does, and you're like, no. How do I tell you you're not doing it?
So that's the only thing that slows you down. But hey, it's still a challenge because you just email support and tell them to fix it for you. So
yeah,
for real.
So
there you go.
So it's an exciting time for that. So that's what I'm doing for the week.
Cool.
Upgrading at least those three. Actually, 3 sites. So
send us a check-in
my sales page for the podcast
Right.
course, which is not really upgrade, but just a regular thing.
Right.
My authorityletter.com site, which is my opt-in page, where I tell people to go and get their video series.
Mm-hmm.
And my third one is what is it? What is it? Oh my
You sound
oh
like me.
boy.
Too many websites to remember.
Right. I'm trying to figure out why did I put this in the thing here. But yes, my authority project .live site, which is just a WordPress shell right now,
Ah,
because I've been using the hosting platform for right now because
gotcha.
I didn't want to deal with the WordPress site right now.
Yeah.
But now
They
I
are a
am.
pain in the butt.
Yes,
They are a pain
yes
in the
they
butt.
are.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. So maybe just the first two. How about that?
There you
Okay,
go.
I think
So
that's fair.
authority
Maybe the first
letter
two.
and podcast sales page. Good.
Cool.
Yes. Yes.
Send us
Good.
an update
Yes.
next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll text
Yes.
you.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
I'm
Awesome.
on it.
All right, Cel, let's get over to you. What's going on? Oh, first of all, very first question out of the gate. Last week we said we were going to name organizations we hate so that to keep us accountable. If you don't do the things you said you'd do, I get to donate $50 of your money on your behalf to an organization you hate. Um, and boy, I'll tell you when I get to my update later, that really worked for me. That kicked my butt into gear yesterday. But so first question out of the gate, what is the organization that I am going to donate to if you don't do the thing you say you're going to do?
Dude, it was a tough draw between my top two. Goodwill, where the CEO takes like the majority of the money and like they say that they're doing good for people working there, but like they get paid pennies. I
Uh-huh.
think there's like one account of a girl getting like 17-cent paycheck.
Yeah.
So that was one of them.
Like a whole
Or the
documentary about that.
yeah,
Wow.
or the NRA. The NRA won out. Fuck the
Ah,
NRA.
so the good old National Riffle Association will be getting your
Accurate.
money if you
No,
don't
they
do
will
anything.
not be getting my money.
That's right. That's right. That's the whole point.
I told my husband, and mind you, this man shoots guns, and he's like, "Why would you waste your money like that?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna waste my money. They're never gonna get it."
That's the point. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's funny. Like, why don't you do an organization you like? Because then you can not do something and feel good about
Exactly.
it. Okay. So then I like to use
uh,
Eddie Izzard's pronunciation and call it the National Riffle Association. So they should be getting the money if you don't do anything. All right. So what was on your
Excellent.
to-do list last week, Chell?
Okay, so my big to-do list was outreach every day, which is just ingrained in me now, so I do that.
Yay. That's good. It's a
And
habit.
okay, so the campaign outline. I have my outline done. I know what my 6 emails are going to be. I know that it's going to be over the course of 10 days to 14 days, give or take. I just need to see how it flows throughout the week. I have a question for you though, Josh. So that's like I did it, which is awesome. But I was going through the coursework on Donald Miller's program. Yes, guys, we also do a buttload of online courses to make sure that we keep our shit together.
That's right. We're
But
always learning and growing too.
you have
The
to.
coaches have coaches.
Yeah. So I was going through Donald Miller's online course, and they were like referring to all of this emailing or like everything that you're launching, quote unquote, as a campaign. And I understand that. But like, what if you're just trying to give people more information? Does it still have to be within this umbrella campaign? And do you still have to use the same verbiage the whole time? That's my question.
So I it cut me off if I'm going down the wrong path, but I think
Okay.
what I'm hearing, and from what I know, because I took that course too,
Yeah.
is that he had what did he call it? An outreach campaign
Mm-hmm.
and a sales campaign. And the outreach campaign was just giving information, just reminding people that you exist. And that's something you could do weekly, every other week, or even monthly.
Okay.
Um, and he had examples of like there was a truck shop that did like custom lifts for trucks to make them like monster trucks or whatever, and they had a monthly email, I think, that was just pictures of trucks, um,
Yeah.
and people opened it, and people who are into that stuff or in the market or eventually want that are into looking at the pictures. So it's as simple as that. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. Just give away the information, make sure that people think of you as an authority, as Bryan would say and know, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
and
Mhm.
keep you front of mind so that even if people don't want your course or your services right now, when they do, like when they are ready to get their truck turned into a monster truck, they know who to go to, even
So
if it's
that's
a year later or
so
something
that
like
would be
that.
like after the 10 or like 6 email campaign
Right.
after I've sent them something for free. I'm trying to follow up with them to get them into my funnel.
So I
That's when I
think,
have to shoot them with the same information over and over and over and over and over.
yeah. So what
Okay.
I'm looking at, which I think is kind of what you're doing, is like in my thing, if somebody downloads my free thing, they get a series of 10 emails, which is
Mm-hmm.
more information as well as a sales pitch hard at the end um, of the chain. After that, they're just going to my general list, which I don't have a use for yet, but I'm starting to brainstorm about. But like for
Okay.
you, that would be your food tips or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
once a month, once every other week, something like that, they continue getting your food tips, and then whenever you decide to do a sales campaign again, like if you want to do a major push for Black Friday or something, then you put them in, you turn that off for a second and you put the other thing on, hardcore sales thing, and then you turn off
Got
the
it.
sales thing, take whoever buys, and then go back to just maintaining the contact
Mhm.
Okay.
slowly. Bryan,
Okay.
does that, you didn't
Yes,
take
that
the
is
course,
perfect.
but do you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but I agree. I mean, I think it's obviously you start with your intent, right? Your
Yep.
intent is to get them to your funnel or to your product page or to your booking link,
Yeah.
and that's the original intent. I think to not have that intent would be a disservice to you and them,
Totally.
because if you're trying to teach them, you're not going to show them something different.
Yeah.
So teach them what you do on a daily basis, because that'll be your sales campaign, and then work on how they their behavior from there. Are
Yeah.
they opening up your links? If not, put them somewhere else where they just want this free information until that kind of thing. If not, if they are, I think it's just segment the people who are engaged and some those who aren't, and
Yeah.
send the information to the ones who are more engaged, and just different offers, different things for different people.
Yeah, I think there's a way to like put the people who haven't engaged in another funnel like going on so that you can just give
Yeah,
them free information and then eventually do like
right,
another call to action. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely going
exactly.
to incorporate that. But the I guess the piecemeal of like how I have this structured is the first email is going to be like what the course is all about, but using his story brand structure. So if you guys are familiar with Donald Miller, he basically has a story, right? So he has a central point, a central theme of everything. There's a question that you should be thinking about the whole time. Um, there's uh, there's another point that I can't remember. I'm trying to like see the page in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're the guide, like you, the person providing this course, this product. Then you give them the plan. And then you give them a call to action, and then you give them a glimpse of what their amazing future could look like if they work with you. Um, so that's what my first email is, in a little bit different of an order, but that's what my first email is to these people. My second video, or my second email out, is a video testimonial. If you guys remember, I don't know if I actually told you, but I bought a video. I bought a very expensive 1 minute video last year that I'm going to send out to my sales funnel. So that'll be a great tool because it's a testimonial from clients that I've worked with in the past, like actual busy parents. So that'll be great to send out. Then the third is going to be a video of me, and I have this mostly outlined at this point, but basically encouraging people to spend time with their families, whether that be in the kitchen, less time cooking, less time eating out. So just spending time with their families. And that's what that video is about. The fourth is a testimonial, basically just taking blurps of what my clients have said, probably making them into some kind of like cute little Twitter thing so it's visually appealing. Um, and then I have another video going out about timing because all of this kind of relates back to timing of cooking. So this next video is going to be of me talking about timing and making time to plan. for your cooking for your meals, and then 6 is going to be a huge call to action. Like, if you're not sold on me now, will you ever be, kind of thing. Um, so I actually just jumped onto this course yesterday. So that was really slow to the game for me. I didn't realize that this was going to be so comprehensive for like everything that I needed to happen this week. You really didn't sell it, Josh. I didn't know.
Undersold it.
Yeah, but it really brought together everything that I needed this week for social media and for being able to put together an email campaign. So I think I might buy the course again unless I can pay you for your password and we can go splitsies on the course you already bought. We can talk about that later, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Heck yeah.
Another update, I think I talked about it last week, doing different like segments on my active campaign to like target singles, families, and practitioners. I can't do that. I have to put them into, like, I would have originally had to bring them in as those different people. Like, they're called different lists on Active Campaign. I can put them under different tags, but that doesn't do shit when I'm trying to send emails out. So I think from now going forward, I like the people who come in via those different funnels are going to be how I target different things. But for my current email list, I can't break them up and segment them at all, which is kind of a bummer, but like it'll be fine. I think those were the biggest things that I had going on this week. On more of a personal note, just for the general audience, if you guys find yourself around someone who's draining to you and like you feel drained or exhausted being with them, that could be physically, that could be mentally, then that means that they shouldn't be in your life if they're not uplifting you. And I'm not saying everyone should uplift you all the time, but like if you're feeling drained and like you've had the life sucked out of you after you hang out with a person, you probably shouldn't be hanging out with them. And that's just like reaffirming that. So just a PSA, hang out with people and surround yourself with people who are uplifting, who just bring joy into your life. The end all of this story is that I had a gnat genocide in my apartment, and I did a sage cleanse this morning. So it's good now, but I feel like I should let you guys know.
Okay, Cel, we get it. I'm draining on you. Anyway, Bryan, I'm going to need a new podcast host. Do you want to come? I think Cel's out.
Walked into here.
Yeah.
That's a great point, though. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I started paying attention to when I leave somebody, do I feel energized and ready to go and excited I saw them, or do I feel like I need a nap? And we're all humans, so we're all different people every time we encounter each other. That, like you said, like it's not a constant thing. But if you're constantly feeling like you need a nap, then that might not be a great person to prioritize your time with.
Yeah.
Because I've been there for people, and they've been there for me in good times and bad. But if it's always a drain, that's a problem.
Dude, if it's reciprocal, totally. But
Right.
I was down and out for a good 8 to 10 hours yesterday.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good that you identified the problem.
Most definitely. So and as a gnat flies across my head.
Yes, it's still around.
Oh, no.
Awesome.
What about you, Josh?
All right.
How was your week?
For me, first thing, I had to find an organization I hated, and I'm probably on a few lists because of the Googling I did, which is unfortunate. But I found an organization that's a real organization with a real.com website that you can really donate money to. Because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just like some ethereal thing. So my organization that you will be donating my money to, if I ever show up without having done something, is the American Nazi Party.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
They exist. They're real. And now I'm on some lists. But so that really kicked my butt into gear yesterday. Because I was like, well, now I know $50 is going to them from me of all people. So I was like, this is not going to be cool. um, and so I did two things I had to do was one, name an organization I hate, and two, um, I had to outline the webinar itself that we talked about and the marketing for said webinar. Because Bryan, I'm doing a course kind of relaunch for my podcast startup course,
Cool.
and I just like redid the free PDF download, the opt in, all that stuff. And update. Last week I said, hey, remember how I spent some money on ads and I got 0 sales out of it? Well, I had a lot of people in my funnel, and by the end of the 10-day cycle, I got 2 sales out of it. So,
Nice.
Insert round of applause here.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, so it's not perfect by any means, but for like the $150 I spent on ads last week, I sold $200 courses, so I'm up.
Fuck yeah.
So, need to perfect that a little bit. I'd like to be making a little more money, but happy to be in the green. So what I'm gonna do is you'll also see on Instagram, by the way, dear listeners, I went live with testing headphones because I'm going to do a headphone giveaway, Bryan, for people who buy my course as
Sweet.
part of this launch.
Sweet.
Um,
Nice.
and and we went over my free PDF that I redid, and Cel gave me some notes yesterday. So you can see all that on Instagram because it's not worth talking about audio wise; it's all visual stuff.
Yeah.
But um, so what I did, here's the proof. So you can't donate money to the American Nazi Party. There's my
Oh my god.
outline of my
Oh wow.
webinar, and
Nice.
and there's
Oh,
no, there's my outline. Those were my notes. There's my
there you go.
outline,
Proof.
and there's my schedule for
Sweet.
marketing.
Sweet.
All exists. It's there. And
Proof.
so my big question for you guys for like brainstorming and stuff is, so last week, Bryan, we were talking about that I'm going to do a webinar that's uh, idea validating and why you should start a podcast and finding your niche. Because I've been finding with the feedback I've been getting from my funnels and stuff is people asking me, I have some ideas, but I just don't know what I'd talk about and who would listen. And that's not really part of my course so far. Like,
Mm,
that's what I considered like step 0. And then here's step 1, how to record, right? In my course. And so I was like, okay, so that's step 1. So I decided to make that a free offering as an incentive to get started and also get to learn about my teaching style and see if we jive, as I was talking earlier about. And so we were talking about whether to make it just an evergreen, nicely produced video that you can access anytime or do a webinar. And what we decided was I'm going to do a webinar at least first, see how it goes. But also, a webinar is easier to make. So I'll be wasting less time if it doesn't work at all. Um, and then if it does work, I'll get some hopeful feedback. And after doing it a few times, I can maybe make a really nice, highly produced video that's just on demand if that's the way I want to go. But this will also be kind of a learning experience with the back and forth of a webinar. So,
yeah.
um,
I like to
yeah.
make sure the audience we backtrack and say that he said that making a webinar is easy. So I'm not gonna. Let's backtrack there first because for everybody else, maybe not.
Dropping some
Yes.
reality right now.
No, that's good. That's good. What I meant was easier than making a highly produced video. And I will say, not that much easier. But whatever time I can get back, I'll take.
Right.
And so my thoughts are from my outlining and stuff is that as I was doing the outline, I was realizing I should just do like a launch for a full on, not just like, hey, take the course anytime you want kind of a thing, but like take the course now. The first 50 people get headphones, and everyone who buys the course in the next whatever period, I'll show up for office hours once a week for 10 weeks because there's 10 lessons. You do one a week at a leisurely pace, and you can do it faster if you want, but I'll be around for questions. So like that's like a special added benefit for anyone who saw the webinar is they'll get access to me every week, plus the headphones. So then I was like, okay, well, if that's the pitch at the end, then I've got to like schedule this out. So I went backwards. So my schedule starts like with uh, run the course for 10 weeks. And then going backwards, it's like, okay, sending out reminder emails for a few days, like closing the cart, like have a deadline. You can't get in now, it's over. Um, and sending out like a webinar replay right after the webinar is done. So anyone who missed it live can see it. Running the actual webinar and opening the cart saying now it's live. Anyone who wants to buy, first 50 people get headphones, all that stuff. Um, then reminder emails leading up to the webinar have to happen. I'm intentionally not including dates because that's one of my questions for you guys. And and then like the official announcement, like because I have a pretty big list of people who've downloaded my PDF, so they've got a little bit of nurturing. But now it's going to be like, here's the webinar, here's a new topic we haven't discussed. If you want it, it's absolutely free. So I have people to announce to, so the announcement email. And probably running some ads based on the audiences I saw on Facebook that were responding to my free PDF download for a couple of days, like webinar in a couple of days. I don't want to do it a few weeks out because I want the webinar to be soon, not like sign up today and it's next month,
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
my thoughts were initially last week, I said I would do it like first or second week in December to be like, and we'll start you up a new podcast next year. But now what I'm thinking, I Googled a little bit, some Google research on when's the best time to run a webinar. And they said between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Pacific time is the best time.
Okay.
And Tuesdays or Wednesdays are the best time. And I thought that's weird. Just because in general, I hate, like, I
Sounds
go to
weird.
them, I guess, but I hate webinars that are during my workday, because I'm like doing things.
Right. Right. Exactly.
But I guess that's why they're almost always at those times because people tend to have the most traffic then. So then I thought, like, well, we have a holiday coming up and a lot of states are shutting down with the pandemics. People are at home anyway, maybe out of work, maybe thinking, like, what am I going to do with the extra time? Um, so I was thinking about doing this webinar next week, which means sending
Nice.
out my announcement email today, Friday,
Now.
um,
Okay. Okay.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
and kind of ready as a lie. Like I will make the slides for the webinar this weekend. I'll be ready by the time.
Sweet. Yes.
um,
Yes. Yes.
I know football's
so
not your thing, but that's a fucking Hail Mary, Josh.
well, the reason I'm thinking is so at least in New Mexico, and I know a lot of states and cities are following suit. Um, we're shut down for 2 weeks for non-essential businesses. This past week that we're in right now, and next week, and so it's like, well, here anyway, there's some of that going on. A lot of countries in Europe, English-speaking countries that could take my course, similar, and I'm thinking next week, next Thursday in America anyway, is Thanksgiving, and Friday is typically a day off after Thanksgiving. So if I did it next week, which is a question like, do you think that's wise, or should I just do it in December? But if I did it next week, the other question is, do I do it on Friday, which is Black Friday? People are off, but people are busy. But some people are like I'm off and I need something to do. Like, yeah, give me an excuse to spend an hour doing this before I go back to whatever. Um, or are they just too busy and or like online shopping for Black Friday? And even though this is a thing they could shop for and there'd be a deal involved and all that stuff, like might not be the ideal thing. So do I do it Friday or do I do it like Tuesday or Wednesday, which is the best days to do a webinar according to Google? And leave the cart open through the weekend, like through Black Friday, close it like
I
Sunday night or Monday
Yeah.
night
I like
Yeah.
that. Or leave it open
Sunday
till
night.
I was gonna say leave it open for Cyber Monday.
for
Oh
Cyber
yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good
Exactly.
so
point. Good point.
maybe push, get this done for Tuesday
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know. Wednesday is like still a family day. I know people are working before Thanksgiving, but like Wednesday is still like a family day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thursday, people are in
Thursdays, no. Yeah.
no non-existent. People are stuffing their faces with turkey.
And then they're
Friday,
tired and they don't want to learn things. So.
exactly. And
Right.
Friday, I mean, if stores are open, then people are out shopping at the crack of dawn. I can attest to this. That happened last year
Yeah.
with my mother-in-law. Totally cool.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so I think Tuesday, dude, if you can push through this weekend and launch it for next Tuesday and run the deal through Cyber Monday, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
also, would you want to do ads or just leave it within the people who came to your webinar for like a Cyber Monday deal?
Oh, I think I'll probably run at least somewhat. I don't have a huge budget for this because I don't know how well it'll work. Like, if I knew like this launch formula is gonna work, then I could tell you I'll spend this much money and make it back. Um, but I
Yeah,
think what I'd
for
like to
sure.
do is spend some money. So if it's on Tuesday, like Sunday, Monday,
Okay.
and part of Tuesday, saying free webinar this subject, right? A few different ads to the Facebook audiences I know seem to be working. Um, and then post the live webinar, maybe have an ad that runs the rest of the week through Monday that's like, um, here's the replay and this course is open until Monday, like, and then maybe just an ad on Cyber Monday that's like Cyber Monday deal, because it'll be like the same deal. I think I'm going to give, I haven't really quite decided, but I feel like if I give like 10 to 20-ish% off, that's also like incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um and I'm my uh price point keeps dropping with all the discounts and the add-ins, but like I'm also kind of like your beta program there, Bryan. Like I'm looking for a good initial batch of people that will help me and give me feedback, and I'll be able to improve said product
Right.
because I've
Right.
gone through with some people. So I'm cool with like not making a ton of money right now because I'm going to be learning a lot and being able to improve the product. And then next time being like, oh, I know this is legit because all the questions of my last cohort have been answered, like,
Right. Right. Right.
so, yeah. So any thoughts on that? Does that answer your question about ads, Cel?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way I'm doing it is I'm giving the people on my list an extra discount because they're on my list.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's even under I'm already giving a discount already
Right.
from the beginning, but I'm gonna give them my people who are loyally on my loyally. I don't even know that's the word, but, I don't know why I say that. But who are loyal to me on my list, that
Right.
extra discount there, as opposed to what I'm going to be doing, outside of them. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing I would say. But it's on
I
you,
think that's a great idea. Yeah. Because they're at least a little bit familiar with me. They downloaded my PDF before and all this stuff. So
You're basically besties.
we're
Yeah.
basically best friends. Yeah. So like, but not like so much best friends that they get
Yeah,
it for free.
right.
Cool. Well, all right. Well, that's my plan.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So let's recap what we're doing next week, starting with me. So I am going to host a webinar and
Wow.
launch a thing, which means I'm going to be working tomorrow, Saturday, a whole lot to make all
Wow.
this happen. But now that I have an outline and a plan, like it's not going to take too long to come together. But that's my thing. So launch webinar, have a push going by the time we check in next week, and yeah, I guess that's it. So I should have had said webinar. That's the thing I can like check in on. Did the webinar actually happen by the time we check in next week? Um, and if I say no, it's because I made up excuses about too busy, don't feel like it. So this will keep me on track. It's happening next Tuesday.
Excellent.
Cel, recap what was yours.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I said it actually, but
Oh, maybe
my
yeah.
my my goal is to finish this email campaign completely, like videos recorded, edited, everything up, ready to go. So as soon as someone clicks on either of those two links, they are sent into this 6 email campaign funnel.
Perfect. And then Bryan, repeat yours.
I forgot already. See, I'm terrible.
You're
You're
working on your
upgrading
2 websites.
2 websites. Yes, 2 websites. Getting that ready to go.
Yeah.
Should be no
Awesome.
problem.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on Casual Friday. If you have a question for Casual Friday, you can email us at unstuck.institute@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram at unstuck.institute. If you haven't already, download our free PDF Lifebook to keep the ball rolling on your own productivity. Get your Lifebook today at unstuck.institute/lifebook. Have a good week. Be excellent to each other. Thanks, Bryan, for joining us, and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
guys later.
All
Bye.
Bye,
right.
guys.
See ya.